Hey everybody, welcome to the Glasses Push. My name's Chuck and today we're doing something a little different. So this week I heard that a school district had decided to remove the classic 20th century novel To Kill a Mockingbird because there were many complaints about the language and that it was offensive. So, for any of you who are familiar with the novel, you clearly understand why the prospect of banning this book, removing it from curriculum, is absolutely ridiculous. And for the uninitiated, this book tackles the themes of racism and judging others and equality and morality. This by establishing us in the Deep South where there is heavy racism. But just because there is racism within a book, context is everything. When Harper Lee uses It's okay. My dog knows I'm upset about this, so it's a pretty big deal. So when Harper Lee uses the N-word, it is to show the evil that is in the hearts of so many people and how it comes out against completely innocent people who didn't do anything wrong, just happened to be born a different color than someone's preference. So when Harper Lee uses the N-word, it's a completely different context than if somebody is using it as an intentional racial slur meant to hurt the reader. Context is everything. Harper Lee isn't going out calling any colored person an N-word. She is establishing a world in which this racism exists, and if you shy away from the word in that context, it's going to lose its power. Context is everything. If Harper Lee was just going on a racist rant and saying that black people were N-words, well, that's a completely different thing. And so if To Kill a Mockingbird was actually some type of racist screed that was basically like a southern white lady's version of Mein Kampf or something like that, then sure, absolutely be offended. And I'm going to touch on that point a little more about even if something is offensive, that perhaps it still has a place. But if you're teaching a book in school, and especially in a southern school where, just colloquially, we believe that racism is more endemic in the South, a book like To Kill a Mockingbird is absolutely crucial. And especially because of one character, Atticus Finch, who is one of the most noble characters in all of literature, a complete and total badass, who, even in the face of every single one of his peers and colleagues thinking he is out of his damn mind, is going to do the right thing for no other reason than because it is the right thing. People throw slurs at Atticus too, so it goes all ways. It shows just absolute hate for things that are different and things that people don't understand and don't want to understand. Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely. But it's critical to be uncomfortable to truly learn. If you stay in your safe zone, you're never going to be challenged to think. And not every time that you're challenged are you going to be swayed to the other side. but it is your duty and your responsibility as an intellectual individual to demand to be challenged. Because it is going to do one of two things. It is going to make you more open-minded and perhaps change your viewpoint, or you will become more educated and your own opinion will become more validated as a result. If you are a racist, I would hope in any way that a book like To Kill a Mockingbird would challenge you to not be racist, to see that all people are equal. That's just the way we're born, we can't change. And that's a color thing. We can overcome the racism of our culture, of our family, if that were the case. So by all means, be offended, be shocked, be horrified, but be educated and learn. So removing a book that offends you because it says the N-word, think about the context. If it offends you, it's only because this stuff happened. And we cannot plug our ears to every single bad thing that happened. We absolutely need to keep the Diary of Anne Frank in our schools. And you know what? We absolutely need to keep Mein Kampf in schools. And you know why? Because we need to understand the monstrous thought processes that go through people. We need to understand how these things happen, what the mindset is, and understand the historical context to see how it happened and how it could happen again. Do people find Mein Kampf offensive? Absolutely. But we need to understand it. It is an absolutely critical educational tool. Anyone that chooses to avoid anything that shocks them or challenges them is just choosing to be willfully ignorant. That is the absolute definition of it. And the quote that goes around so much, just because you're offended, it doesn't make you right. And just because something is offensive doesn't mean that our kids need to be saved from it. Quite the opposite. In the real world, people say and do awful things. And what better way to learn about these awful things than packaged in a book that also shows you the right thing to do? Sorry, my hand slamming on the table was a little too emphatic, but no, I'm not sorry. The phone needs to be challenged, and the system needs to be challenged, and our deeply held beliefs need to be challenged. And what better way than in a book where you get a clear moral message and something that would really shape children to know not to judge people, and not just by their color, but by their life circumstances. Oh, this person acts a little differently than everyone else. What doesn't make them worse? You don't know them. And the more that we choose to hide ourselves from the things that we don't understand, the worse this country will get, and the worse future generations will be. And I'm going to leave that at the rant. But the other thing you may be wondering is, okay, so it deals with an important theme, but is the book really all it's cracked up to be? And again, the answer is absolutely yes, 100%. You want my basic review of this? Well, here it is. It may seem at first like the book starts off a little slow. It's really plain, set in a quaint southern town. Kids being kids, kids telling ghost stories. If you perhaps gave up at the beginning of the novel, you made an absolutely gargantuan error. and stopping if the beginning was slow. It is all set up to show you this simple little town, but then when you get into the big controversy of the novel, that's the white lawyer that everyone loves defending a black person, which just the fact that it was a shock to these people is pretty telling in itself. But that is where the novel just really starts tackling these themes at a head, doing what's right even though people think you're crazy. And then once the trial's over, and the trial is riveting and heartbreaking, but then after that, the book doesn't stop there. Then you start coming back to the central themes about, all of these small moments in a town. Well, what do they add up to? What was so important about showing us all these small moments? In the final scene of the book, my God, the perspective you get and how every single scene in the early part of the book, in the slow part of the book, the parts that I had even initially thought were completely unnecessary and filler, oh my God, the perspective you get at the end. It is mind-blowing and such a powerful statement. And for a book that is basically, preaching something that at times can become a trite message about not judging a book by its cover and about accepting people for who they are, you do not expect how powerful the final moment of this book is. And to see how it all comes together, you understand how perfectly crafted this novel is. How emotionally worked up you get in this world. And then why morality matters, why principles matter. It's challenging, it's shocking, and damn it, that's why it's so important. To Kill a Mockingbird is absolutely a 100 out of 100, absolutely perfect book. So why anybody would want to deprive children from this essential novel and these absolutely beautiful ways of expressing these ideas that can seem played out if you're just telling them, oh, be nice to everybody. Well, here's a parable that in, 10 to 15 hours, you're going to learn exactly why doing the right thing is imperative, even if it's tough. Why judging people just because of their appearance is absolutely so misguided. If you just say it on its own, it doesn't mean anything. But if you spend the time in a book to hear it and you get the full context, you're going to be a better person for it. So what do you make of this controversy? What did you think of To Kill a Mockingbird? And what do you think are other crucial books that need to be taught in schools despite being challenging? I absolutely welcome your feedback, and please like, comment, subscribe. I want you to stay engaged, and I think talking about literature is so important, and challenging books, as I've said before, are the most crucial. I'll be talking about more challenging books. It's something that I always try and seek out. If you have any recommendations, let me know. But please stay tuned to the Glasses Push for more reviews and commentary. And thank you very much. This is Chuck for Glasses Push.